I'm not gonna lie, man. This whole Olympic situation has made me more upset with the Christian community than it does with the woke ideologies or the woke crowds that created things like the opening ceremony and more. And it's frustrating. I it's funny. I had already decided that I wasn't going to watch the women's Olympic basketball team because they decided not to include Caitlin Clark, and I do believe they did that out of straight hate. The Reeves coach, she did that out of straight hate. So I wasn't going to watch, not necessarily boycott, but I wasn't going to watch the women's Olympic basketball team for that reason. And then I go and I hear about the opening ceremonies. And the only reason why I didn't watch the opening ceremonies is because I never really have, at least not since I was a kid, and I was kind of forced to watch it because that's what my mom was watching. But then I hear all of the highlights and I see it on YouTube the next day, and I'm like, what the, like, I'm watching, I go in it and I see the highlights from this opening ceremony, and I'm like, why is anybody, this is my first question in my head, why is any Christian, or why is anybody who is looking for real equality, moral integrity in this country, whatever you want to call it, why haven't they all just turned around and said enough is enough and boycott the Olympics just off the opening ceremony? You keep talking about how we're not trying to offend anybody. We're not looking to, we're just looking to keep to ourselves. You're sending people to jail during Pride Month, kids, for doing burnouts on the Pride flag, which is on public property. But you think it's okay to come to the opening ceremony and mock the Last Supper. But again, I'm actually more upset with the Christian community. Why? I still hear people talking about, hey, did you hear blah blah blah? What was it? The women's gymnastic team, they took gold. And I'm like, I don't care. I've boycotted the Olympics because of what's going on. And I'm gonna say, and I'm talking calm right now because what I really want to say, and I'm about to say it, and I know I'm gonna piss some of you guys off because even though you are what I'm going to say you are, you don't want to accept it. You don't want to hear it. You're afraid to confront it. Christians, for the most part, as a group, have no backbone anymore. You guys don't stand up for it. And I know the first thing you're going to say, well, you're not a Christian. How dare you talk? And that's a lie. I was born a Christian. I was raised a Christian. I actually have my associate's degree in theology. At some point in my life, I did distance myself not from God and not from Jesus. I distanced myself from man's religion because I was tired of the hypocrisy at the time. But even with the distance that I created for myself, I see things like this and it offends me. How does it not offend you? I not ready. I already boycotted the Olympics. I'm not watching a single event, and I'm just it to me it is offensive to as a Christian that if you are in competing, I don't care. I don't care how hard you work to get to where you're at. When they make a mockery of your religion, a mockery of your God, it's time to let all that go and say, time out. We got to get this figured out before we continue because this isn't cool. And then to make matters worse, you had a surfer 2 weeks before the Olympics that the Olympic Committee told that he would not be able to compete if he brought a surfboard with him that had a depiction of Jesus on it. It wasn't just a depiction of Jesus on it. It was actually that huge statue that you see in Brazil, that's in the middle of their land. I don't know enough about Brazil. I just know that I see movies like, I think, Bad Boys, and you've got the big white statue. It was that statue of Jesus that he had on his surfboard, and they told him that if he didn't remove it or bring another surfboard, that he could not compete. And he was frustrated by it, and he actually tweeted about it. And then next thing you know, he took the tweet down and replaced it with something like that they weren't going to allow religious figures and people to represent their faith at the Olympic Games. That's their rule. But yet you turn around, you let them make a mockery of it. You can't represent a religious figure, but you can desecrate it. You can make a mockery of it. And now that they've blatantly done this, you remember how it used to be where if you said, "Hey, why are you coming down on my faith?" And they're like, "We're not. That's not what we're doing at all. We're trying to gain respect for ourselves, and it has nothing to do with your faith in you." Remember with those days? Now it's, we're going to mock you. You have no say in the matter, and go ahead and cry me a river if you don't like it. That's where we're at. This is where we were, and this is where we're at. And I've been telling you, even before I started creating videos on YouTube, I've been telling everybody, if you guys can't see it, you guys are blind. It is escalating. It has gone from we've been victims, we've been bullied, to we want equality, to now we want to lord ourselves over you guys. That's where we're at. And then I said, I've already boycotted. You got the surfer incident. You've got the opening ceremony incident. And now I find out that we've got 2 transgenders in women's boxing. And again, I don't care if you're a transgender. I don't care. I've never cared about that stuff. What I do care about, and what I don't understand why more of these quote unquote, and I'm going to call you what you are, you fake ass feminists, why you aren't coming out and defending women's spaces more. You got men, grown ass men, going into women's spaces, putting women in violent situations where they now get to abuse women and get away with it. And somebody's going to get hurt at some point. But I'll just let you guys see the difference between, and this is the Olympic Games, so the best of the best as far as women go. This guy that's boxing, I've boxed, I've done martial arts. This guy wouldn't survive a round in the men's division at all. I would fight this guy just watching the way that he fights women. I would fight him on GP. I'm not even in shape, and I would fight this dude. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys see this. It's in Spanish, so it's not gonna matter what I say or talk over it. Boom. She can't even defend herself. The standing 8 count or 10 count or whatever they got in the Olympics. And look at the body figure. So let me just pause this. Look at this person's figure. That is not the figure of a woman. That is a full-blown ass 100% man. Well, I don't know what he's got in between his legs. If that's missing the 99.9%, because he probably didn't have that much in the first place. But this brings me back to the Christian community. How is someone like me, as offended as I am and willing to boycott this, but you got people that are still watching the Olympics? Everybody, and I'm sure it's too late. I'm sure people have their own viewpoints on things. But everybody who believes in God, believes in Jesus, they should have walked away from this. It is time to take a stance. And nobody is telling you to go on the offensive, but you should have been on the defensive. You should have been standing up for what you believe. And I know a lot of you guys will be like, well, how are we supposed to do that? There's nothing we can do. And that is bull crap. I'm going to tell you a couple things that you can do that will make a huge impact on doing away with this stuff. Number 1, stop giving them your money. Stop supporting these big companies that feel like it's okay to put money and donate into these political agendas and just force them to sell their product, sell their service. Get out of politics altogether. Or you just, and I don't care if it's the left or the right. This is an example that needs to be made for all businesses. Stop giving them your money. The minute they decide to support a political agenda, a political side, stop giving them your money. When everybody stops supporting these businesses and tell them to just do their jobs, eventually they're going to get the hint. Ask Tractor Supply Company, ask Bud Light, ask Disney how much money they've lost by not listening to the people. This is number 2. You guys just heard this big old controversy that the left is trying to bring up against Trump about him saying that you'll never have to vote again. They took that out of context, but what Trump said wasn't untrue. There was some merit to what he said. He's saying, get out there and vote. That statistically, Christians aren't getting out there to vote like they should. Conservatives aren't getting out there to vote like they should. So if you're tired of all of this stuff, you have to get out there and make a difference. Stop believing that your vote doesn't count. I voted for the first time as a Republican back in 2020. I was glad I did. My candidate, the person I voted for, lost. But I was glad I got out there and did it. I felt like at the very least I was beginning to do my part. That's it. If you can just do those two things, stop giving them your money and get out there and vote, because it does matter. Don't let them convince you that it doesn't. It's going to be us or them. And yeah, I'm going to stand on what I said. Everything I see, I don't see Christians or conservatives or Republicans. Their backbone is missing. Look inside the court area. You got the Republicans. All they do is ask questions. They're not getting anything done in the courts. You have a few people like MTG, what's her name, Green, and Luna in Congress. Luna tried to bring an inherent contempt of Congress against Merrick Garland, but her own people wouldn't stand behind her to make that happen so that he would get arrested and we could start getting things done. They wouldn't support it. The backbone is gone. It's missing. We need to get that back. America was built on the backs of hardworking citizens, of soldiers. Where did they go? Anyways, you guys have a great rest of your day. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Give me any ideas that you have on how we can get that backbone back, because it's crazy to see that it's missing like this. Don't tell me you're watching the Olympics. Nobody should be watching the Olympics under these circumstances. Not like this. Women's spaces have been invaded. Christianity is literally under attack at the Olympic Games, and they're just laughing in your faces as a result. It's sad. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do me a huge favor. Hit the like, subscribe, and follow button so that I can continue to bring these videos to you just like this. I enjoy doing it. I want to do more of it for you guys. I'll do the homework. If you guys can't do the homework on your own because you're too busy with life, let me do it for you. And that starts by you liking and following this page. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.